Hello and welcome to Watchdog Wargaming. Today I shall be reviewing Rapid Fire Reloaded Extra. It's the additional rules that have just been released for the Rapid Fire Reloaded rule set, giving additional rules for World War II land battles. It's by Colin Rumford and Richard Marsh, and just had a quick read through it now, and there's some there's some changes on there that people who have played Rapid Fire before um, from this rule set, or even that rule set, may actually recognise. And there's the comeback of the old 12-inch artillery template as well, which is brilliant. So just bear with me a second. I'll switch cams and we will sort of have a quick look through this book. So yeah, it comes in the same sort of hard card stock again. Lots of coloured pictures and clear explanations, and it's been probably play tested to oblivion, because I know there's quite a following of Rapid Fire out there, and I do know that they have quite keen individuals who are making to make sure that not only does it play correct, that it's actually grammatically and historically correct where possible. So this new book, so it's just on the sort of reading the context there, covers paratroopers and gliders. There we are. Paratroopers and gliders, ground attack by aircraft, boats and amphibious vehicles, mines and engineering tasks, artillery options, OP variations and air OPs, which probably links in with the ground attack aircraft, command, supply, vehicle repairs, amphibious landings, concealment markers, large tank battles, night fighting and snow, SMG companies and solo gaming. Now, one thing I've picked up on here as well is the actual supply comments, so I'll be interested to see what they say on that. One thing I like to certainly include in my games is the logistics aspect, because I think that's one part of wargaming that, in my opinion, it seems to have been forgotten about. Logistics is really important. Sort of being in the forces myself, is sort of and having working sort of on the QM side as well. The lads at the front can't do their job unless you get the bombs and bullets and the food to them. So it's this is a key element that I'm glad that they've included in it, and see how they include it. So right, so let's have a quick nosy. So the first one would be paratroopers and gliders. Now let's see what the first. So before what we used to do was used to get lots of little pieces of paper to the exact number of figures that you had on the table, and you just dropped them. If they hit a building or fell off the table, then sort of that was it. That was them dead. So let's see what they say on here as well. So it's yeah, very similar. Place sufficient 1 square paratroop markers for up to 2 companies from parachute battalion on a 12-inch ruler. Each square should represent a figure base or crucive weapon base. Spread the squares along the length of the ruler. Tip the squares off the ruler from a height of approximately 18 inches above your designated drop zone for this unit. Process repeated until the whole unit parachute drop is complete. Any squares that land off table or hit a wall or building are lost. Paratroopers may move from where they land and fire at short range only. Yeah, makes sense. This is a great rule. And also, I like this as well. No ambush firing is permitted against paratroopers or glider troops on the move which they land. Yeah, you know who you are. So, yeah. And also gliders. Place a glider on the table and throw a d6. If as 1 is thrown, the glider is wrecked. Makes sense. So let's have a quick look at ground attack by aircraft. So it explains the actual procedures and where and when it's done, anti-aircraft firing as well, and types of aircraft. So you've got the examples it gives on here is the So a Typhoon, a Thunderbolt, and a Focke-Wulf 190. Um, yeah, Typhoon would be interesting because my grandfather was ground crew for Typhoons at in Normandy, and he was responsible for sticking the rockets back on the Typhoons as they came back from actions on the Falaise Gap. So it was so yeah. So it goes on to sort of the how you go about it, dropping bombs, anti-tank firing, strafing, different types of bombs and everything else on there as well. I'm not going to give it all away because, as I said, you need to get this and sort of read through it yourself. But I'll just give you a flavour of what's actually in here. As I said, it's adds to the actual the fast play rules already that are actually out there. Rapid fire in whatever guise it's come through. That was my sort of introduction to wargaming from the very start, and sort of it's sort of and it's something I need to get back into. But also as well, it's you can use the rule set for other different genres, because I know there's someone they're using it for Korea, and I've also seen a Vietnam version of it, and also I think that there's a modern Cold War gone hot version of using that as the actual principal rule set. Again, it's how you want to use it. And then it goes on to boats and amphibious vehicles. So it's sort of how the turn goes to actually assault across a river. So that's if you're crossing the Seine or something like that, how you do that. Amphibious vehicles, so that's your Schwimmerwagons and sort of amphibious jeeps, or the buffaloes or the LVTs, how they work, and also how many figures can actually go in each vehicle. Minefields and engineering tasks, covers on about minefields, marked minefields, unmarked minefields, obstacles, digging in, and bridges. So again, so you've got your engineers aspects on there as well. So it's how long it would take to put up a bridge, how long it takes to clear obstacles of barbed wire, or dragon's teeth in this case. Artillery options. Now this is I remember when we used the old template, and this is they brought this back in. This is brilliant. So whereas before, when you fired a mortar or artillery shell, it just disappeared off the board if you didn't get a hit. With this thing, it actually goes somewhere. Well, whether that's actually in the rules, I don't know, but that's to say. But also as well, we used to put there's an arrow on here from the actual direction of fire. So if your mortar's firing from over here, you annotate the template in sort of where the round's at going, if you know what I mean. So yeah, you can also play bingo as well on it. I've seen a lot of versions of these, some in sort of like flimsy talc, or some that have actually been put on bases, so you can actually fit it over the actual target that you're firing at. Again, and then if you get vehicles that are actually on the line, then you can either do a dice off, or you can sort of agree with your opponents of if the vehicle's in or out, or half in or half out. Again, the old sportsmanship of the game. Sometimes that's a wee bit missing. Okay, as well, you got it talks about map fire using a 12-inch grid, pre-game bombardments, barrages, heavy artillery, 3-gun batteries, and also the use of OPs. So OP variations. So it was whether it's a ground one on the ground, or one up in the air as well. Because I said this refers to the Oster. Again, the Oster I think that came in late war. Yeah, 1943 onwards. I know there's a gentleman not far from where I live who's actually got a real one, and you see that flying around every now and again. So this still in use. Again, rules mention about observation by air OP as well. So if it can be spotted or not. And also if comms are made. So moving on to the next bit was about command. So again, this is perfect element on here. It actually says was if your highest level headquarters destroyed or leaves the table, then a unity commands will deduct one from all their following D6 morale rolls. It makes sense. I know a lot of units and sort of lots of different nationalities train their subordinates to the point where they could reliably take over. But as I said, I think this if you play that rule across all the figures, then all your different nationalities, then that's brilliant. Supply, we mentioned about the logistics element earlier on, and it says players may allocate each AFE or unit the following number of shots at the beginning of a game: 5 for AFEs, 8 for RT or anti-tank battalions or batteries, 6 for infantry battalions, and 4 for rocket launcher batteries. So basically, if they sort of lose the last of their logistics roles, so to speak, then it's they'll have to pull back, or a supply vehicle has to come to them. Again, you read the rules and interpret it the way that we want on there as well. But also as well, they also got vehicle repairs as well. So a damaged AFE may be repaired by a repair recovery vehicle in contact for one full move, during which it may not move or fire. So if you've got an ARV or a REME section or the sort of German recovery vehicle, Berg Panther, I think they had a couple of converted vehicles. Or FAMO, that's the big one. Yeah, I got a model of that somewhere. Big die cast thing, huge. Yeah, so I've now got a reason to use it, and that means I can actually go and recover some of my vehicles, and as long as they've been not completely destroyed, and get them back into the game, which is good. Amphibious landings. So it explains about the use of landing craft, beaches, and the bunkers, pre-landing bombardments, defenders, morale. I know in a lot of the rule sets you've got about like the D-Day, and I think there's another one of these that's just come out as well, which is to do with the Canadians, Canada, right? And also morale to do with amphibious landings. So whether you're doing, I don't know, Scheldt Estuary or the crossing of the Seine, or in fact that's not well. Yeah, the Scheldt Estuary was a amphibious landing, if I remember rightly, but or invasion of Italy, or out in the Pacific. So the rules are actually in there to cover it. What else have we got? Oh yeah, and it's also got clear pictures, sort of like the first wave, second wave, and sort of the third wave. Firing at landercraft, destroyed or damaged AFVs. Like I said, so a lot of these you may actually recognise from the previous versions. Very, very similar. It's just slightly been tweaked, I think, for the better. And so again, so I think some of this firing of bunkers. So if you had a Churchill ARV with the old petard, sort of flying dustbin, sort of how to fire that, and there's the damage on that. Close assaulting bunkers. It's on about concealment markers, large tank battles, night fighting and snow. It says for snow. In heavy snow, half-all move rates for vehicles, infantry and cavalry moves are reduced by 1/3. Ski troops may move at 9 inches cross country. Makes sense. So if you've got your Finnish or your Russians, or I don't know, if you're doing modern AMFL up in Norway, so 9 inch cross country. SMG companies. So so what was it? The Russians and the Chinese, North Koreans, they all had SMG companies as well. So it explains on there as well. What is it? Infantry companies solely armed with submachine guns may only fire at short range, but add an additional D6 to their fire effect throws. To your right. And then about solo games, it just gives you a sort of a couple of options of how you could actually sort of how you would make decisions. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but all the information is actually in here. I think it's £5 from sort of I think it's was it £5? Yeah, it's £5. If you go on their website, so hopefully I'll put the details in the bottom. All the details are on there as well. So for the actual rule set, and then also for the additional rules that just come out as well. So it's all good stuff, and I like the pictures. So you've got the infantry, British infantrymen on the front, and then you've got your typical US Army with armed with a bar on the front, sort of glossy pictures. And then on the back of it, it's actually got probably something that you could photocopy to use as the templates for your 1-inch paper squares for paratroopers. So HQ group, 2-figure base, MMG and crew, 81mm mortar. It says square paper markers available to download and print from www.rapid-fire.uk.com. So that's their website. Also, it gives examples of like concealment markers and also sort of your minefields as well. So and also damaged AFVs. I don't know if you can see the picture, but there's the tank there has actually got sort of like a token which looks like it's got a bit of a thrown track on it. So I like that idea, so I might have to borrow it. So yeah, so that I think is going to be a perfect sort of it's going to make the game a lot better. Certainly going to add value to this one, and sort of so if you've really sort of like cut your teeth on that one, and with these additional rules, it's going to give you more scope for making your games more playable, more enjoyable, and actually you probably can use it for different places around the world, different battles. So thumbs up for me. So yeah, thanks for joining me. It's been sort of this is something that I've been trying to get back in for ages. And as I say, I love wargaming. It's one of my favorite hobbies. I'm more on the painting side than actually playing at the moment. And so thank you for joining me. And hopefully you'll see me for the next one. Check out my other videos that probably linked below. And if you like what I'm doing, don't forget to like and subscribe below. And I will catch up with you again. So you take care, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye for now.
Squad morale restored.